What is up, YouTube? DanCT860 here with a deck profile of my Monarchs that I took yesterday to locals for the last day of the old format before the February 11th format is now in play. I went undefeated. We didn't do top 8. We just decided to go with standings, I guess. So my matchups, there were 4 rounds. It was Monarch, Pepe, Monarch, and a PK Fire. First round I 2-0'd my friend Vinny, which was probably the best player there. He just opens very unlucky against me most of the time, the majority of the time, and that just does well for me, I guess. He didn't technically brick, but I just had everything to out his boards, so it's like he didn't open as well as I did. Game 2, basically the same thing. Not much bricking, but I just had answers to how Pepe plays, basically. He was really upset about that. Made a big deal of MSTing my his pendulums after he wavering eyes. When I should have done it when he played his pendulum scales. I was just like, okay, I guess. Round 3 was the Monarch mirror match again, with apparently an established pro player with like 10 YCS tops and like 4 Nats tops, I guess, before he quit like for 2 years and came back. He was pretty good. He was still fresh to the Monarch deck, I guess, and had to read a couple of my cards because I was playing things that he wasn't. It went into game 2 and time, but I was eventually able to get the game, pulling out the 2-0 against that. And then the PK Fire deck was, I'll explain how amazingly I pulled the win out of that, but that was also a 2-0. So yeah, I 2-0'd all my matches with this deck. But yeah, that's enough of rambling, and let's just get into the deck profile. So there's 3 Erebus, one of your best Monarchs, and 3 Aether, which I think is the best Monarch just because it swarms. Then I played 2 Thestalos. This was good, very good. I think 2 is fine. Then the 1 Karaz, I didn't really use it as much, but it's there for the Ether players to disrupt boards, and that's all I really use it for. It's not, I didn't really need it, really, honestly. That's it for the big guys. 2 Idea, I like 2. 3 Squire, the Eidos Squire, and then the 3 Mithra. So I went with the Thestalo Mithril kind of build. This is my personal opinion. I like Idea at 2 with Eidos at 3 because Eidos is honestly the better card, because as soon as you use 1 and this goes to grave and then Eidos is in grave, you can just keep bringing this back. I don't see the reason why people like 3 of this and 2 of this when this is actually the better card. Even if you open this and you have domain, it's just that good. So, and the Mithra is kind of the same thing as Squire. It just gets you another additional tribute summon. For the spells, 3 Pantheism is just a busted card. 3 Tenacity, 3 Domain, love this. 3 Stormforth. Yeah, this is just broken. 3 return. Yeah, I think 3 return is pretty much necessary just to dodge strikes. If you're definitely not playing if you're playing the no extra deck build, this is a definite 3 of, I believe. And what you might see different in this build from other builds is I played 2 Strike of the Monarch. This was probably one of the best cards in my main deck. This, if you don't know what it does, you tribute a level 5 or higher normal summon monster to negate a card on the field, and then you draw 1 card. And when it's engraved, you can banish it. All monsters on the field is changed to the attribute you call it. And that just opens up plays for your other Mega Monarchs to access to their secondary effects. And what's really good about this is that you can negate anything with this. So if they play a Regeki, you can negate the Regeki. And the negation also follows to grave, which is really good. Then for the 1-0s, I play 1 Foolish, 1 for 1, and 1 Twin Twister. This, by far, was the MVP 1 of. By far, this was a huge, devastating thing against Vinny, the first Monarch player I faced against. I Twin Twistered. I drew into this with a Pantheism. Because I Pantheism twice in 1 turn and got into this, and I just saw this, I was like, thank God, because I knew he set 2 cards that he definitely kind of like needed, and I just blew that shit up. It was so good. He was so like shocked that I was playing it or something, I guess, but it was hilarious. Actually, he was shocked that I drew into it because I told him I only play 1 of it in the main deck. 3 Prime Monarch and 1 Escalation. Didn't really use Escalation, but I do like the plays you could do with it. And 3 Prime Monarch is definitely something I like, just because I like to have 2 engrave and 1 to just use the recycling effect. I never ever want to dump all 3 engrave, but I like to have 2 engrave just because I can have something to special summon and have a presence of 2 by their turn and my turn. That's it for the main deck. For the side deck, most of it's pretty standard, I guess. The Mega Caius, which this won me against the pro player mirror match in round 3. I got rid of all his Erebus's, and so he only could rely on his Ethers and Karaz's as big guys to tribute, and he just really couldn't keep up. But he also got me in return because he freaking curse sealed my Stormforce, and I had 2 dead Stormforce in that matchup for a while, so he kind of got back at me. 1 Mega Mobius. Now, against the PK Fire deck that I played in the last round, this was the MVP of that game. In game 2, he set a graph, I believe it was, and then set all 4. And I opened this, a Prime, a Pantheism, a 1 for 1, a Strike, and then I drew into a Stormforth. So, and as soon as I drew Stormforth at the beginning of my turn, he flips Anti-Spell. And I was like, well, that's just fantastic. So, I just set all my spells. I set all my spells, and I had the Prime and the Mega Mobius in hand. So, it passed to him. He didn't have anything. He just Foolish for a Scarm, and then flipped over a Graph and attacked for 1,000. And then Scarm searched a tour guide, I believe, at the end of that turn. So then I drew into the Mega Caius that I also sided in for the PK Fire deck, and I flipped over the 1 for 1, and he negated the Adia's effect. At that time, I decided to play Pantheism, draw some cards, and I was left with 2 face downs, so he decided to flip Twin Twister and send Graph to the grave so he could bring back Skarm for defense, I guess. And that's exactly what I needed. I needed that strike that I had set to go to grave. So I flipped over the Stormforth, and then he destroyed both the Stormforth and the strike. So as soon as he did that, I brought back my Pantheism from grave, and then activated the strike so I can take all water. Then I tributed his graph and my idea, and brought out Mega Mobius. So, and his other set, that his final set that he had was, so he negated my idea with Fogblade. So there was a Fogblade set card, and then anti-spell face up, and I was able to pop all three, and he couldn't strike me because with this additional effect of his, he can't be responded to. So, and I just took the game from there, and that was very good, very fun to get off. I was ecstatic that I actually pulled that off. It was crazy. The Megazaborg, 2 Battle Faders. Never sided this in because I didn't see any Cosmos, but there were some there. I guess they didn't do very well, so yeah. 2 Majesties. The only time I sided this was against the PK Fire deck, but didn't see it because I actually didn't need it. Majesty's Fiend, only sided this against the Pepe and didn't need it because he scooped so easily. 2 MSTs and the 1 Twin Twister. This came in every single game, and all this came in against the Pepe deck only. And I think I put them in the PK Fire deck matchup too. I'm not sure. Then 1 Regeki, I didn't know what else to put, so I had space for 1 more, so I was like, might as well put Regeki. And the last 2 cards in my side deck are 2 Curse Seals. I'm probably going to take this out. Against the pro player, when he used it, it was kind of, he said it was too dead in too many games. He had to play awkwardly to keep a spell in his hand so he can actually use this. But effectively, I've never gotten this off ever, and I've been playing this deck with this in the side deck for like a month and a half, I think, or something, like a month now. Ever since the deck basically came out, and I've never had the opportunity to use this, so I might just take it out because I just never fucking use it. But that is it for the deck. Sorry it took so long with the deck profile, because I explained some of my matchups and what went on, but this deck right now I believe is the absolute best deck of the format. It didn't get touched at all by the banlist, so we're gonna see a lot of Monarch craziness going on. So I'm probably going to switch over to a different deck just to combat this shit. Probably going back to Heroes and see what I could do with that, and give this deck a rest for a while, but you know, we'll see what happens. Peace out, YouTube. Thanks for watching.